Howdy folks, this is Reggie Gould. I'll be your tour guide for the old Salmon Falls Bridge. A little history about it, and we'll cover a lot of area in the Valley of Caves. And this is the El Dorado County, Northern California. This is where we're at. And it starts out the old Salmon Falls Bridge. The bridge was built in 1850 and was used up to around 1912. Before the dam was built, Folsom Dam was built in the 1950s, and of course they needed a new bridge because that bridge was underwater. And before the dam was built, there was mining done in 1848 at Sweetwater Creek and Salmon Falls, and a little town sprung up called Mormon Island. And of course, when they built the dam, that whole town was underwater, so they retrieved what was of value, and it's underwater right now. The dam is down to 15% water level, so all that artifacts and everything that were under that dam are visible right now, and there's a lot of people going out there exploring to see what was there. And we might cover the low water level. I saw in the news that Folsom Lake was, of course, down to 15% level, and I thought to myself, that'd be the perfect time to get out there and look at the old Salmon Falls Bridge, because normally it's underwater and can't take any pictures of it. The trick is trying to find a place to take your pictures from, because the lake is so enormous, and there aren't any roads you can just drive up to and get a picture. And as I was driving around, I saw a couple guys on mountain bikes, and I asked them if they knew a good spot to shoot, and they said, yeah, there was a good place, but the walk was about a mile, and my bad knees won't let me walk 5% of that, so I was planning on using my telephoto. So as I walked around this parking lot, I found a lady sitting in her car. It looked like she'd been walking the trail, and I asked her if she knew some place I could get a good shot of the old bridge within camera range, and of course she pointed me to one of these trails that is a mile away. And I said, is there any other spot? And she said, well, there's a road. You might try that. I thought it led to somebody's house, because the private property owners there completely surround the entire lake. So there's very few spots that you can get in. So anyway, I drove down the road, and I found a lot of people down there, and there was a little spot there where you could turn off there, and I got out of the car, and the bridge looked like it was about 20 miles away. It was probably less than a mile away, but it looked just like a little small dot. Anyway, I got the zoom lens and zoomed in, and to my surprise, it filled the whole viewfinder. So that little camera anyway took a series of pictures, which you're going to be viewing right now. If I can remember to click things here. This is another shot of the bridge, so just a little bit farther away. You can see the people look like Lilliputians walking towards it. Like I say, it's a long walk, but as we go through these series of pictures here, you're going to see how long a walk it is. This is a little farther away, a little shot from the north side of the bridge. Now we're starting to move farther away. I'm pulled them back. You can see that the lake bed is showing there. Normally that would be all underwater. So the bridge is starting to be farther away as from my vantage point. Now we're zooming back, and you can get a better picture of the lake, and Of course, you can't see the foundations and the remains of the town from here. You'd have to walk it to see all of that. This shot is the south side of the old Salmon Falls Bridge, and you can see the water under it is the normal water coming from the South Fork of the American River. And of course this bridge isn't used anymore, but it was built well. And I saw on the news that the water level, of course, was low. And sorry, I lost my place here. Anyway, I was out panning one day with my club, and we were above, of course, the bridge. We were way back towards Placerville, and I was gold panning out in the South Fork of the American River, and wasn't doing very good. And I saw some of the club members on the other side, and they're waving me over. So I thought, well, water's not very deep. I saw them wading across, and it didn't seem very deep. So I decided to walk across, and because I wasn't getting any color in my pan. And I got about, I don't know, not quite a fourth of the way across. All of a sudden, the water started rising, and pretty soon it was up to my neck. I thought to myself, the damn dam is broken and I'm going to drown. Well, I've had a fairly good life, so I guess it's my time. I used to be a good swimmer in my younger days, but I wasn't sure if I could swim this fast water. It was just roaring down there. And I just remembered I was wearing my watch and still had my wallet, which was now underwater, so it was too late to do anything about that now. And all I needed to do was just survive this torrent of water rushing down here. And so I decided the best way to survive is just to swim back, but the current was so fast it was making that impossible. So I decided I'm either going to have to do something drastic or drown. So I just started floating and kind of working my way over to the back to the shore again. And I spotted some bushes. I grabbed some branches there and pulled myself to the shore there. And by then I was just exhausted. And after I rested up, I crawled out through the bushes, scratched and whatever. And I finally made it back up to where I started from. And when I met some of my club members, I said, "What the world has happened here?" And they said, "Well, you didn't know about the water release?" And I said, "No, I didn't know about the water release. What's that?" He says, "Well, at 10 o'clock and 2 o'clock, they open up the gates and let high amounts of water run down, so the rafters will have enough water to miss the rocks and what have you down the river." Of course, this is nice for the rafters, but this practice seemed a little dangerous to me. And you know, what about the kids that are swimming in the river when they're waist high? All of a sudden, it's over their head, and boy, I don't know. It just seemed like a bad practice. And the other thing is, the water's running out to the ocean, so if they keep doing this all during the summer, they're going to empty the Folsom Dam. So that, I don't know, the whole thing seemed like a bad practice to me, but that's nothing I can do about that. There's another shot, that bridge is along in the distance. Anyway, getting back to the lime production, located at the mine, which you're going to see a picture here shortly. And I'll just switch to that now. This shot actually was taken here at the new Folsom Bridge, and it just shows the water level dropping. Normally all that to the right there is underwater. Again, we're at the new Folsom Bridge, and we're looking at the high bank there, the water level being very low in the lake. Sorry I got out of sequence here, but this picture is the rafters coming down at right above Horseshoe Bar, and there's a little tiny slot that they have to shoot through, and the water is really ripping through here. And this is what it looks like before they hit the rapids. I got the pictures kind of out of sequence, but when they hit that, it dumped them out, and they were all tossed around and actually shot through the tunnel that was put in there to mine Horseshoe Bar. Okay, now we're back on track here. This is the kiln at Alabaster Cave where they were doing limestone production. And this kiln are three different ovens, and they cook the lime and drive out the moisture and turn it into lime, or what we call cement. This is actually has three ovens built into it, and it's hard to imagine you could do much production in this these three little, but I guess they did a lot of shipped a lot of lime out of here, and all that of course went across the Folsom, the old Salmon Falls Bridge, which was a nice concrete bridge, and you can see why when you're hauling a heavy load across there you need a substantial bridge. The old Folsom Bridge, actually they weren't using trucks in those days. They had mules pulling wagons. Of course, I imagine it's multiple mules because these were loaded up with heavy loads of lime. Now the Alabaster Cave, which is right below this limestone operation, actually started on April 18th, 1860. A small hole opened up while they were mining the limestone quarry by John Harris and George Halterman. They got a lantern and started exploring the cave, which turned out to be large rooms and tunnels. And later this became a tourist attraction, and they actually had dances down there, balls. So this room, you had to imagine, was very large, and this went on for a number of years, and unfortunately it was vandalized by vandals at one time, so they closed it off. The owners closed it off. But the cave, they think the cave system leads through Cave Valley, which goes from Pilot Hill, which is where the Alabaster Cave is, to Gould, at the Gould Quarry, and these are a series. Actually, at one time the water was running through these. It was local nature's way of underground water. So I'm not sure if you can walk those or not. I think they're too small when you get because that's probably 5 miles from Pilot Hill to Gould. So the interesting thing is the Indians have known about these caves for years, and they called it the Valley of the Caves. And I might mention Anthony Belli, which is a fellow writer, spent 2 days exploring the limestone caves at the Alabaster Cave. In 1992, Dennis Witcher of the El Dorado County Museum gave Anthony Belli all his documentation that he had on the Alabaster Cave. And Mr. Belli researched, organized the complete history of the Alabaster Cave for the Historical Museum of El Dorado County, California, to record the history. This is a picture of just one of the ovens, one of the three, and just a close-up to give you a better view what it looks like inside. Kind of crude as compared to what we'd use in mining operations today. This is a picture of the site of the limestone operation at the Alabaster Cave. It was a limestone production first, and then the cave was discovered second. I believe the cave is right in the middle of the picture, below that large rock on top. Another picture of the limestone, and you can see how large it is. They had to blast it with dynamite to get it out of there, and then I'm not sure how they loaded it in those days, but I'm sure it was a chore. Probably by busted up, probably by hand shoveled it. Of course, there's another picture of the cave opening there, and it's closed now. The owners closed it up. They had too many people abusing the cave, so it's preserved now. Another picture of the limestone operation. It's a massive. It's actually a lens. If you look at it underground, it's a large lens and this is where it crops up out of the ground. And another picture showing the strata, the lime. You can see it. Now we're getting into a different area. We've covered the cool quarry. Now what we're doing is we're going to get over into the Hawver cave system. And I mentioned the cool quarry. That was started in, well, let's get to the thing, the Hawver cave. The Hawver cave extends from the Alabaster Cave and Pilot Hill to Cool Quarry in the outskirts of a town called Cool. In 1906, two high school kids discovered the opening at the cave system in the Cool Quarry, and the two kids found a very large bone, and they decided to take it home, show it to his mother. His mother looked at the bone and said, "Wow, this is really, really, really old," and decided to try to get some more information on it. So she knew where her dentist was an amateur paleontologist, so she took it to Dr. Hawver, which was their local dentist and paleontologist, and a team of professionals, including the people from Berkeley College, went to explore the cave and retrieve the fossils for future examination. The artifacts the team discovered even amazed them. They found the skull of a Saber Tooth Tiger, ground sloth, and some human remains. And I don't remember the list of all the things they found, but most of this stuff is in the museum at Berkeley. I suppose in their paleontology area where they have it's probably on, I don't know if it's on display or not. I'm not going to say, but I'm sure they're going to put them on display if they're not on display already. Anyway, this shot that you see is the original hole, and they fenced it off so people wouldn't fall into it. But this is where the kids were dropping in here to have their parties. That's another shot of the hole, looking down into the hole, and it was pretty crude and probably pretty dangerous to be scaling that, and kind of got a little out of order here, but this is the opening that the mining company put in here. As you'll see in the other photographs here, they blasted their way and they drove a tunnel into the main cave system to actually mined the limestone. So this was the limestone before Hawver Cave got going, but the Parks Department put a big steel gate across there to keep out the vandals and what have you. So anyway, to get back to the artifacts. The artifacts that were found, as I said, with the Saber Tooth Tiger. Also, you can view these at the at the Placer County Museum, located at Maple Street in the city of Auburn. The modern cave, back in 2007, Anthony Belli, Reggie Gould, which is me, and Gene Lawrence were given a private tour to take pictures and write an article on the cave. This shot will give you, this is Gene Lawrence in the foreground here, and he's standing right where, actually, if you walk in that first tunnel, there's an ore chute, and the ore was actually mined above it, and a railroad car was positioned under that, and they pushed it in through that hole, which would dump into the railroad car. And of course, those of you that are familiar with Highway 49, part of that 49 was where they came across, and there's a bridge there across the North Fork of the American River called No Hands Bridge. That was actually a railroad bridge, which was constructed specifically to haul the limestone ore from the quarry out and get it out to where they could move it from the train to trucks, or just the trains went to their destination. Not sure at that point. It's just another shot of the cave. You get a better look at the gate at the very end, which is where you go in underground. In this first portion, of course, you can see the opening there on top. That's the ore chute. That's where the ore was pushed into that, and it would dump into the railroad cars. And this is me, Reggie Gould, and I'm holding a model of the head of the Saber Tooth Tiger. Can't see it very well. But they had to take these bars and actually fill them full of concrete to keep the kids from sawing down, because they have a lot of vandals that want to destroy everything you put in. Anyway, this fellow holding the Saber Tooth Tiger model, this is inside the Hawver Cave system, and still there's a lot of remnants on the ground there. And this is that's Gene Lawrence that's holding that. He's the fellow that set up the tour for us to go in there and take pictures, and Tony Belli and myself wrote an article for a couple magazines on this. But as you go back in there, one thing that really surprised me was there was a large, very large lake, and you could see 3 waterfalls emptying into the lake. And there was a boat sitting there, a wooden boat, and a couple deflated old rubber rafts I guess the kids were using to get across there. And the boat was to get you across the lake, because there was actually another entrance on the other side of the lake inside the quarry itself. You know, this is some of the graffiti saw inside the cave. I think it said, haunted, enter at your own risk. So I guess that's a little joke the teenagers had. This is another shot of Gene Lawrence. And in the very left, you can see that was the entrance there. There's somebody standing there where that little white light is there. And to the very right of Gene is a better view of the Saber Tooth Tiger. His tusks were so large that when he killed his prey, he couldn't actually devour the meat. He just he could only suck the blood out of them, so I guess he was the first vampire, a real vampire. Well, sorry, I misspoke here. There's another picture of Gene holding a Saber Tooth Tiger. The things I referred to as tusks, those are on an elephant. Those are fangs. So they'd be like a canine tooth on a dog. And one other note, the kids have been using these caves to have their beer busts in for many years. Thought that was funny. Talked to a number of people. They heard about the Hawver Caves. Says, "Oh yeah, we used to take a keg of beer down there, and everybody have big parties down there." And I guess I was the only one that didn't know. I actually found out. Somebody told me that there was an article in the Mountain Democrat, and actually there was two articles. So I went down there, and they went to their archive system and fetched out two of the articles, and allowed me to use the information for an article that I was writing on the Hawver Cave. This is a picture of the trash that teenagers left behind, or teenagers or whomever. I have no idea what age group they were in, but a lot of them, from what I found out, were in their high school years. And this is the trash they left. They brought it in, but unfortunately they forgot to carry it back out. So this is still in the cave. Not a nice thing to see, but luckily the public won't have to view this. Someday maybe the cave will be open to the public. That's what the park has in mind, but they need funding to there's OSHA has their requirements and stuff about safety, having probably handrails and who knows what all their requirements will be, but it'll be closed until they get enough money to meet all the safety requirements. This is a picture of some of the stalactites and stalagmites, and they're in another part of the system, and they're just gorgeous. The photograph doesn't show it good because the camera just doesn't have the right, the flash just, you get a bright spot in the middle and it scrubs out the color. So these shots are just beautiful. In some parts like Kentucky and Tennessee, you see this a lot, but in California, I've only seen a few caverns, Mitchell's Caverns in Yosemite. Here's another one, and it's just the water dripping from the limestone formation, and as it drips down, it just forms like an icicle, and of course it turns back to a solid, so this will be this way for many years if it's not destroyed by vandals. Another picture, different type of formation that it just layers up. It never ceased to amaze me. I used to, when I was in other states, just go cave exploring, and I'm amazed at how many types of formation you could find. I was in the desert with my wife, and we saw this thing that said caverns, and I thought, boy, this was, I'm not sure if it was Utah, Wyoming, somewhere out in that neck of the woods, and apparently the astronauts from the Apollo day were there using that to train it because the moonscape looked just like what would be on the moon. And anyway, we went into these caverns. Instead of being lime formation, they were icicles that looked just like stalactites and stalagmites formed out of ice, and it was probably 110 degrees outside, so nobody knows where this cold air was coming from. It was just one of those things. Another limestone formation. Like I say, get some good photographs, you need to haul in some good lighting in there. And another limestone formation. Looks like on the very bottom there, they're starting to form into the tubular things. But it's interesting the way be interesting to see how they were forming. But of course, you're probably talking about thousands of years to form. You think maybe millions. I have no idea. It's not my area of expertise. I found these formations to be very interesting. I have never seen, all the caves I've been into, I've never seen a formation. One to the right looks almost like a flower, like the petals of a flower, and I've never seen anything like this. This was really a rare thing to see. So they're beautiful, though. I hope they never get vandalized, because they're really something to see. Everybody should be able to walk in and see something like this. And this, of course, is the American River. This is the North Fork of the American River, and this is where the caves are located. Probably about couple city blocks from Highway 49, and now that's kind of a horse trail now. You can't drive to it. There's a road there, but I think just human traffic and bicycles and horses are the only ones allowed to use this now. Okay, now we're back on the top of Hawver Caves, and this is where the original mining was going on. They've covered up the holes, but they were mining that face that I don't know why the rock is that violet colored, but as they dynamite the rock, they would push it into these holes above the cave, and then they had a loader that would load it out and take it out and dump it onto that picture we saw before, where it's loaded into railroad cars. This is another picture of Gene Lawrence and Anthony Belli. I don't remember the other gentleman's name, but this is part of the mining operation that was going on. And is kind of a note of the history here is, well, let's see if I got a better picture of it. Okay, this picture here is one of the holes that they pushed the rock into. It was like an ore chute that dumped in down to the cave below. So, okay, this is showing the rock formation, the limestone formation they were working in. And I guess I don't have a good picture of the wall face, but the wall face is huge. It's probably 100 feet high, and the blasters had ropes connected up on top, and they would hand drill these dynamite holes. And when they got, I don't know what their pattern was, but they had them large enough to where they had probably 2 or 3 of these guys doing this, because hand drilling's with a drill and a small sledgehammer. And they would carve themselves out a little hole they called a coyote cave, and it was just big enough for them to crawl into. So they'd take all these holes and they'd stuff them full of dynamite and put a blasting cap in each one, put a fuse on it, and when they were all done in sequence, each blaster would light their fuses, because you had more than one fuse, you had a bundle of them. Light the fuses, then swing on this long rope over to the coyote hole and wait for them to go off. And they were trying to be protected from the fly rock, and the fly rock comes at a velocity where it can literally take your hand off or kill you. So it was a very dangerous operation. And of course, more view of the mining operation there. Just another shot. There's There's a lot of course, the grass is growing on top up there. This has been abandoned for quite a while. They moved to over across the way to a pit. So instead of working on top, they went deep down in. The pit's probably 100 feet deep. This is a picture of the new mining area. It's across the. If you look at the top of the picture, go towards the river. That would be the old mining operation where Hawver Cave is. This side would be more facing Highway 49. It literally goes right past this pit, and it's huge. And this is their present mining. And of course, a lot of this limestone is used on the roads for gravel, but also a lot of it is used in everything from tires to cosmetic products. There's a whole list of things that I won't cover that the limestone is used for. This is a picture, actually, the Sierra College. This is Consumnes College, part of the American River College system. And this was a course that I was taking called Mining History, and George Wielden is the instructor for this, but George is a geologist and mining engineer. So anyway, that big tube at the top, that red tube, that's actually I believe it's a trommel, and that's where the limestone is crushed and put into there, and there's ovens underneath there, and they heat up the limestone and break down the moisture in it, turn it into lime, or what we call cement. And I might mention at this point that on the Hawver Cave, Gene Lawrence has written a book on it, and I believe the book is produced by Berkeley College, Berkeley University, and the name of the book is Hawver Cave: A Journey into the Mystery of the Ice Age Fossils Found in Auburn, California. So it's a long title, but that's the name of it. This is the front end of the mining operation for the cement production or lime production, and it's located just to the right of that far picture we saw. This doesn't have anything to do with the limestone pit, because the limestone normally doesn't have gold. Gold's usually associated with quartz, but just thought I'd throw in there and show you what a little gold panning can get you over a period of time. Those bottles the big ones are 3 ounces, and the below 2 ounces, and the small ones are 1 ounce of gold. And this picture is a picture of a piece of quartz, and I believe that's called dolomite. No, that's not dolomite. Anyway, that rusty looking material, can't think of the name of it right now, but usually that's a lot of gold in there, and also the contact zone between that and the quartz. And when you see that material, don't think it's junk, because if you crack it open, you're going to find gold in there. And I've seen that type of material have as much as 3 ounces per ton. The ton is only like a front loader on a bucket. So keep looking. Hope you enjoyed this. I'm not a professional orator, so anyway, I did my best. Thanks for watching.